One of the most telling signs that a man is secretly attracted to you is how well he remembers the little things you say or do. Unlike casual acquaintances or friends who might forget the small details, a man who's truly drawn to you tends to mentally bookmark everything, even things you don't realize you're sharing. You could casually mention your favorite snack, a childhood memory, or a dream vacation, and weeks later, he'll bring it up like it just happened yesterday. This kind of attentiveness isn't random. It's rooted in deep emotional focus. He's listening because he wants to. Attraction sharpens attention. When a man is into you, your words carry more weight in his mind. He listens more carefully and absorbs more detail. It's not about being a perfect listener with everyone. It's that you specifically matter to him. So when he remembers that you hate mornings without coffee, or that your dog's name is Milo and he's scared of thunder, that's not just good memory, that's emotional investment. These aren't things he wrote down in a notebook. These are details he holds on to because they're associated with you. Think about how rare it is for people to retain specific, seemingly unimportant information about someone else's life. Most of us are bombarded with conversations every day, yet forget them within hours. But when someone stands out to us, when we're drawn to them, our brain files away those interactions. If he remembers the song you hummed once while walking together, or the exact way you take your coffee, it's because in his mind, those things are tied to who you are. And if he values who you are, he values your words too. Even more telling is when he acts on those memories. If you mention that you love sunflowers and later he casually shows up with a sunflower keychain or tags you in a sunflower post, that's not coincidence. That's intentional thought. It shows he's thinking about you even when you're not around. His ability to recall your preferences isn't just a memory trick. It's an extension of how much mental space you occupy in his life. Another layer to this is emotional sensitivity. A man who remembers your likes and dislikes also tends to remember your emotional reactions. If you told him about a stressful week and he checks in just to see if things have gotten better, that's care rooted in remembrance. He's not just listening to respond, he's listening to understand and connect. That shows his interest isn't surface level, it goes deeper than simple attraction. Sometimes he may even bring up things you don't remember telling him. Maybe you once talked about a book you loved as a teenager or a random moment from your past. If he brings it up out of the blue, it might surprise you, but to him it was significant. In these moments, you realize he was truly present in the conversation. Even if you weren't trying to be memorable, you were to him. That's one of the clearest signs of hidden affection. Ultimately, when a man remembers the little things, it means he sees value in knowing you deeply. He's paying attention not to impress you, but because he can't help but care. In a world where so many people forget names and faces within minutes, someone who remembers your small details is someone who's emotionally tuned into you and quite possibly secretly attracted to you. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the most obvious yet often overlooked signs is how he always seems to just happen to be where you are. This isn't luck or coincidence, it's intentional. He may not say it out loud, but deep down he wants to be in your orbit. So instead of waiting for fate to throw you together, he starts creating situations where he can be near you, even if the reasons seem random or unnecessary on the surface. You might notice that he shows up at events he normally wouldn't care about or suddenly takes an interest in things you enjoy. Maybe he never used to go to the gym at 6 a.m., but now that's the exact time you go, he's there too. Or maybe he forgets something near your desk at work just to have an excuse to swing by. These moments are often brushed off as casual, but in reality, they're calculated attempts to spend more time around you without making it obvious that he's drawn to you. He'll also start asking for help with things he could easily do on his own, like needing your opinion on something minor or pretending he's confused about a topic you know well. It's not that he's helpless, he just wants a reason to talk to you, to engage with you, and to keep you in his space a little longer. He might even stretch these moments out, turning a 5-minute task into a 20-minute conversation, simply because he enjoys your company more than he's willing to admit. Pay attention to how he reacts when you're about to leave, or when your attention shifts elsewhere. If he tries to extend the conversation, suddenly remembers one more thing to ask you, or even offers to walk you out, that's not just good manners. That's a subtle way of holding on to the moment. These small delays are his way of staying close to you without making it too obvious that he doesn't want the interaction to end. You may also notice that he joins groups or activities once he knows you're involved, whether it's a book club, a volunteer project, or a weekend hangout with mutual friends. He starts popping up more and more, and when he's there, he positions himself so he's near you, not dominating your attention, but always within reach. He may play it off as accidental, but it's not. He's choosing proximity, and that choice is fueled by silent attraction. Sometimes his desire to be near you is masked by convenience or obligation. He might say things like, "Oh, I was just in the area," or "I needed to talk to someone about this anyway, and you happen to be free." These casual comments are designed to make his presence seem normal, even though it's very likely he rearranged his schedule to make it happen. When a man finds reasons to insert himself into your day repeatedly, there's usually something deeper behind it. In truth, when a man likes you but hasn't said it aloud, the safest and most natural way for him to stay connected is through proximity. Being near you allows him to observe, to enjoy your presence, and to feel like part of your world, all without the vulnerability of confession. So if you find that someone is always around, always appearing at just the right moment, and always lingering a little longer than needed, it's a strong silent sign that he's drawn to you far more than he lets on. When words fail or feelings are too risky to admit, the body speaks instead. And when a man is secretly attracted to you, his body language becomes a silent yet powerful messenger. Often, he won't even realize he's doing it, but his subconscious reveals everything, from the way he stands near you to how his eyes linger. His physical cues betray the feelings he may be too hesitant to voice. One of the most noticeable signs is how he positions himself when you're around. If he consistently faces you, even in a group, that means you're the focus of his attention. His feet will point in your direction, his torso leans slightly toward you, and he may unconsciously remove any obstacles between you, like moving a glass or a chair, to feel physically closer. This open-oriented stance is his body's way of inviting connection and showing interest, even if his words remain neutral. Eye contact is another major giveaway. A man who's attracted to you will often look at you just a little too long, even if he quickly looks away when you catch him. He may steal glances when you're not looking, or his gaze might soften when you're talking. And if he looks at your lips while you're speaking, that's not random. It's a sign of physical attraction. His eyes naturally drift to what he finds beautiful or captivating, and they often do it before the brain tells him to stop. Mirroring is also a key signal, and it happens without thought. If you cross your legs, he might do the same. If you sip your drink, he sips his right after. These mirrored gestures aren't mimicry, they're a psychological response tied to rapport and attraction. Mirroring shows alignment and connection. His body is syncing with yours as a subtle, intimate way to feel bonded without physical touch. Then there are the subtle touch gestures. A man who's secretly into you may accidentally brush your hand, lightly touch your arm during a laugh, or gently guide you through a crowd with his hand on your back. These touches are typically brief and respectful, not overbearing, because he's testing the waters, trying to establish a tactile connection while keeping things safe and socially acceptable. Fidgeting or nervous behaviors are another sign. You might notice him fixing his hair, adjusting his sleeves, touching his face, or shifting his weight when you're around. These aren't just nervous tics. They're physical manifestations of inner anxiety and desire. When someone is around the person they're attracted to, adrenaline can kick in, causing all kinds of physical reactions, from rapid blinking to dry mouth. His restlessness isn't boredom, it's the pressure of trying to keep his feelings under control. Lastly, observe how he reacts when you move away. If he subtly follows, leans in to close the distance again, or seems slightly unsettled when you're out of reach, it's because his body is drawn to yours. This invisible magnetic pull isn't a product of polite friendship, it's driven by unspoken attraction. His body, despite his best efforts, keeps trying to stay close, and that pull says more than any carefully chosen words ever could. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the clearest emotional triggers you'll notice is how he reacts when you bring up other guys. Even if he's usually calm, casual, and easygoing the moment you mention another man, especially in a positive light, something changes in him. He might not show it openly, but his energy shifts. That's because hearing you talk about another potential romantic interest sparks a mixture of curiosity, insecurity, and even jealousy, whether he realizes it or not. One of the most common reactions is sudden silence or a subtle drop in his mood. If you're sharing something about a date you went on or a guy who texted you and he suddenly becomes quiet, distracted, or less engaged, pay close attention. That's not disinterest. It's often quiet discomfort. He's processing how he feels, and since he doesn't want to reveal his attraction, he may try to hide his reaction behind a neutral expression. But his lack of words usually says more than he intends. Some men, rather than shutting down, go the opposite route. They start asking more questions than usual. Who is this guy? How do you know him? What does he do? At first glance, it might seem like harmless curiosity, but in truth, he's trying to gather information. He's comparing himself, sizing up the competition, and trying to gauge how serious your interest might be. His attentiveness spikes, not because he's excited for you, but because he's worried you might be slipping further from his reach. Watch how he behaves physically during these conversations too. Does he cross his arms, look away, or start fidgeting? These body language cues often reflect discomfort. His body's responding instinctively to a perceived emotional threat. Even a fake smile or overly calm demeanor might be his way of trying to mask how much the topic is bothering him. It's a silent plea for you to shift the subject, or at least give him some reassurance, even if he can't ask for it out loud. Sometimes you'll notice a change in how he talks about the guy in question. If he doesn't know the person, he might casually question their intentions or joke about them in a teasing way. If he does know them, he might become more critical, even if subtly. This isn't him being mean, it's often his defense mechanism kicking in. He's trying to protect his chances with you, even if he can't claim his feelings openly. Insecurity mixed with attraction makes people behave in ways they normally wouldn't. There are also moments where he may suddenly become more affectionate or competitive after you mention another guy. He might compliment you more than usual, become more attentive, or bring up his own accomplishments in a subtle way. These shifts aren't coincidental. They're subconscious efforts to reassert his value in your eyes, to remind you that he's here, he's paying attention, and he's worthy of the same interest you're showing to someone else. At the heart of it, when a man is secretly into you, hearing you talk about another guy stirs up more emotion than he's comfortable admitting. He listens more closely, asks more questions, and reacts more strongly. Not because he's nosy, but because it matters to him. Deep down, he wishes you were talking about him, not someone else. And though he may play it cool on the surface, his attentiveness when the subject turns to other men is one of the loudest, unspoken signs of his hidden attraction. When a man is secretly attracted to you, his compliments stand out, not because they're frequent or flashy, but because they feel different. They hit deeper. They're not just about your looks, though he absolutely notices those. Instead, his compliments often target things that other people overlook. The small, meaningful details that make you you. That's because he's not just attracted to your appearance, he's drawn to your essence, and it shows in the way he acknowledges you. Unlike generic compliments like, "You look nice today," or "That's a cool outfit," his words often feel more personal. He might say, "I love how passionate you get when you talk about something you care about," or "You have a really calming presence. People feel safe around you." These are observations rooted in attentiveness. He's noticing the way your personality lights up a room, or the subtle expressions on your face that others miss entirely. His words are designed to affirm who you are, not just what you present. What sets his compliments apart is the timing and delivery. They often come unexpectedly in quiet moments and with a sincerity that makes you pause. Maybe he compliments your laugh in the middle of a conversation, or tells you how thoughtful you are after a small act of kindness. He's not throwing compliments at you to impress. He's offering them in real time as genuine reactions to the way you move through the world. This feels natural, not rehearsed. He also tends to highlight traits you didn't even realize were attractive. You might be used to hearing compliments about your hair, style, or smile, but he brings up the way you listen, how you handle stress, or how quick-witted you are in awkward situations. These kinds of remarks reveal that he's paying attention on a deeper level. He's not just seeing your surface, he's studying your emotional patterns, your habits, and your character. Another powerful sign is when he compliments your mind and opinions. If he frequently tells you that you're smart, sharp, insightful, or that he loves how you think, that's a man who's attracted to your intellect as much as anything else. And when he listens to your ideas and reinforces them by saying things like, "You're absolutely right," or "That's such a great point," it shows he respects you not just as someone he's into, but as someone whose thoughts genuinely matter to him. Sometimes his compliments are wrapped in subtle admiration or awe, like, "I don't know how you do all that and stay so calm," or "I could never think of that, that's so you." These kinds of statements signal that he sees you as unique, maybe even a little out of reach, which makes the attraction feel even more intense for him. He's impressed by you, not in a performative way, but in a way that often leaves him a little stunned. Perhaps the most telling aspect of how he compliments you is the emotional weight behind his words. There's often a softness, a warmth, a slight nervousness, as if he's revealing a part of himself every time he says something kind about you. Because he's not just saying it for your benefit, he's also releasing pieces of his hidden affection, one compliment at a time, hoping you'll feel what he can't quite say out loud yet. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the clearest yet most understated signs is how often he tries to impress you, sometimes without even realizing it. His goal isn't to boast or show off in an arrogant way. Instead, it's a natural instinct to prove his value in your eyes. He wants you to see him as capable, competent, interesting, and desirable. So, whether consciously or subconsciously, he starts adjusting his behavior in ways that highlight his strengths, all in hopes that you'll take notice. This can take many forms depending on his personality. If he's confident and outgoing, he might try to stand out with humor, storytelling, or clever remarks in group settings, especially when you're around. He wants to be the one who makes you laugh, the one you remember after the conversation ends. But if he's more reserved, his efforts might be subtler, like staying late to help with something you're working on, casually mentioning his recent accomplishments, or offering thoughtful advice that showcases his intelligence or problem-solving skills. You might notice he suddenly starts putting more effort into his appearance when he knows he'll see you. Maybe he starts dressing sharper, wearing a scent you've complimented, or grooming more carefully. This isn't vanity, it's intentional self-presentation. He wants to show that he takes care of himself and by extension could take care of someone else too. Making a good impression visually is one of the most basic yet powerful ways a man tries to stand out when he's drawn to someone. Sometimes his efforts to impress show up in how he handles challenges or responsibilities around you. He might volunteer to take on a difficult task, offer to fix something, or go the extra mile to show his reliability and capability. He's not just being helpful, he's making a subtle statement. Look at what I can do. He wants you to associate him with strength, reliability, and usefulness. It's his way of earning silent admiration from you without needing to be overly direct. Another key sign is when he starts mentioning achievements or experiences in a humble brag kind of way. For example, he might casually bring up a promotion, a personal goal he recently hit, or a skill he's proud of. He's not trying to be arrogant. He just wants you to see him in a certain light. It's a balancing act. He wants to impress you without looking like he's trying too hard. So these revelations are often wrapped in just happen to mention moment. He may also showcase his talents in the moments that count. If he's creative, he might share something he wrote, drew, or built. If he's athletic, he may invite you to a game or casually mention his workout routine. Whatever he feels confident about, he'll find a way to express it around you. It's not that he's trying to prove he's better than others. He's trying to show you that he's worthy of being noticed by you specifically. At its core, when a man tries to impress you, it means he cares deeply about your opinion. He wants you to see the best version of him, the most responsible, talented, funny, intelligent, or attractive version, because your validation matters to him more than he'll ever say out loud. His efforts, even the small ones, are rooted in quiet admiration and a deep hope that you'll feel something more than friendship in return. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the most telling signs is how protective he becomes, not in grand dramatic ways, but in the small, almost imperceptible gestures that quietly reveal how much he cares. He might not be ready to say how he feels, but he shows it through his instinct to look out for your well-being. This protective nature isn't about control, it's about comfort, safety, and a quiet sense of responsibility for your happiness. You'll notice he often watches out for your comfort in social situations. If you're at a crowded event, he'll make sure you're not being overwhelmed. If someone's being too pushy or making you uncomfortable, he might casually step in, change the subject, or physically position himself closer to you, creating a silent barrier of support. These moments might pass quickly, but they're deliberate, intuitive reactions rooted in concern. He doesn't want to see you uneasy, not even for a second. Sometimes his protectiveness shows up through simple acts of thoughtfulness, like reminding you to eat when you're too busy, offering you his jacket when it's cold, or making sure you get home safe after a night out. He might text you things like, "Let me know you made it home," or "Don't forget your umbrella. It's supposed to rain later." These aren't random acts of kindness. They come from someone who's tuned into your needs because you matter to him far more than he's willing to admit. There's also an emotional layer to his protectiveness. If he senses you're upset, even slightly, he becomes unusually attentive. He asks if you're okay, notices when your mood shifts, and makes subtle efforts to lift your spirits, whether by making you laugh, distracting you with conversation, or simply sitting in quiet support. He might not pry too deeply, but he stays close, ready to be a source of comfort without asking for anything in return. His emotional radar sharpens around you because your feelings directly affect his. Another sign of his subtle protectiveness is how he speaks about you when you're not around, or how he defends you in conversations. If someone criticizes you unfairly, even as a joke, he'll step in with a quick rebuttal or redirect the topic. He won't let others diminish you, even in subtle ways, because in his eyes, you're someone who deserves respect and kindness at all times. His instinct is to shield your reputation and your heart, whether you see it happen or not. His protectiveness also appears when he offers practical help without making a big deal out of it. If something breaks, he's quick to offer a fix. If you're going through something stressful, he may offer solutions or assistance without waiting to be asked. And he often frames it as no big deal, but the truth is, he's willing to put in extra effort for you because he wants to ease your burden. Even if it's inconvenient, he steps up, not to win points, but because your comfort has become his quiet priority. Ultimately, this kind of protectiveness isn't about dominance or possessiveness. It's about care, the deep, sometimes unspoken care that comes from unacknowledged affection. A man who's secretly attracted to you might not confess his feelings in words, but his instinct to protect you, your space, your peace, your happiness, becomes a clear, consistent signal. In every small action where he chooses your comfort over his convenience, his hidden heart speaks volumes. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the most telling signs is how his demeanor shifts in your presence. Even the most confident, composed individuals can become noticeably nervous or fidgety around someone they have deep, unspoken feelings for. This nervousness doesn't stem from fear, it stems from care. He's worried about saying the wrong thing, making the wrong move, or missing his chance to connect with you on a deeper level. So instead of smooth confidence, what emerges is raw, unfiltered energy that he struggles to control. You might notice that he plays with his hands, adjusts his clothes, or touches his face more than usual when he's around you. These are classic signs of anxiety and excitement mixed together, a physical manifestation of his mind working overtime. He may run his fingers through his hair, straighten his collar, or tap his fingers against the table. It's not just idle movement. It's his subconscious trying to release nervous energy while maintaining his composure. Speech patterns can also shift. A man who's usually articulate might stumble over his words, repeat himself, or laugh at odd moments. He may talk faster than usual or suddenly become quiet mid-sentence, realizing he's revealing too much. There could even be moments where he loses his train of thought entirely while looking at you. These stumbles aren't because he's unprepared or uninterested. They're signs that his mind is racing, trying to balance what he feels and what he's allowed to express. Then there's the eye contact dilemma. He might not be able to maintain steady eye contact, either looking away too quickly or, in contrast, staring just a little too long before glancing away nervously. This push and pull in his gaze reveals both desire and restraint. He wants to hold your gaze because he's drawn to you, but he also doesn't want to seem too obvious. So he averts his eyes the moment it feels too intimate. You may also notice a shift in his posture or how he carries himself. He could be standing straighter when you enter the room or constantly shifting positions, as if unsure how to physically present himself. His legs might bounce while sitting, or he might lean forward and then back again repeatedly. These seemingly insignificant movements are often signs that he's both hyper aware of your presence and unsure of how to act naturally under the pressure of it. Sometimes he may even overcompensate for his nervousness by trying to act cooler, more aloof, or overly casual. He might crack more jokes, pretend to be disinterested, or act like everything is completely fine. But his body tells another story. It's in the sudden stiffness of his shoulders, the fake confidence in his laugh, or the way he checks his phone without really reading it. He's trying to control how he appears, even though internally he's anything but calm. Ultimately, nervousness and fidgety behavior are clear signs of emotional investment. He's not indifferent. He's emotionally activated when you're near, and that means every little detail matters to him. What he says, how he sounds, how he looks, and how you respond. He may not come right out and admit his feelings, but his nervous energy is the silent soundtrack of someone who cares, maybe more than he feels safe admitting out loud. So the next time you're around a man and find yourself wondering whether his feelings run deeper than friendship, pay close attention to the quiet cues. It's not always the grand gestures or bold confessions that reveal the truth. More often, it's the subtle behaviors, the unspoken tension, and the ways he shows up for you without needing a reason. From remembering the tiniest details to fidgeting nervously when you're near, his actions speak louder than he ever will. A man who's secretly attracted to you may not come right out and say it, but his heart finds 100 small ways to whisper it. Whether it's through a protective instinct, a meaningful compliment, or simply being present more than necessary, his interest lingers in the background, quietly hoping, quietly waiting, and if you tune in carefully, you'll start to see what words haven't yet revealed. Attraction doesn't always announce itself boldly. Sometimes it tiptoes in with intention, hiding behind glances, gestures, and moments you almost miss. But when a man feels something real, it always finds a way to show. You just have to be still enough to notice.